Dan Geldum, Guaranteed Rate. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me again. It's a pleasure to be here.
Throughout this time that we've navigated some really ugly interest rates, so much of the discussion comes back to, we're going to do this now. And then at some point in the next 12 to 24 months, the likelihood of you refinancing is very high. Now, as a consumer, what should they be thinking about, watching, doing as we navigate these times to figure out when is the most appropriate time? Because as we said before, there are certain people that are probably a percentage point higher when they locked in than we are now.
Yep.
How do people understand that and how to digest that?
It's a good question because I get texts a lot from past clients. There are, for instance, first-time home buyers who had credit challenges, who paid a higher interest rate than rates are at right now, but they're not a first-time home buyer anymore. So the incentives to offset their credit score hit are totally gone. So I ran one for a client recently. The rate would actually be higher today for someone like that. When people are, kind of perusing.
So just to understand that, if somebody used a special program, it may be advantageous to ride the benefits of that program.
Yeah, for sure. Because we have if you have a sub 700 credit score on a first time home buyer program, you're getting the same rate as an 800 plus home buyer, which is a great incentive for buying a house. It's amazing for the person at that time. But on a refi, you're back to sub 700 is how we view it that way. Right. The party is over. So when you're as a homeowner and someone who got a mortgage in 2023 or 2022, you're going to look online to see what rates are. Number one, you're only going to see, if you just do a quick look, those are purchase rates. Purchase rates are different than refi rates. They used to not be, but now they are. The world, it just changed yet again in our space for something. So you have to have a conversation with your mortgage person on, if I were to refi, what's my rate right now? If the rate makes sense, it's more of what the payment does too. Because if you were to ask my parents, if you were to ask your parents, when should I refi? Oh, a half a point, 1 point lower, right? That doesn't necessarily make, number one, it might not be achievable, but it's what happens to it, right? If you're going to save $200 a month, $300 a month, and the closing costs that you pay on the refi are eaten up or made up in the first 12 months of doing it, it makes sense, right? Sure. You're lowering your cost of living. So yes, the rate matters a lot, but also the end result. People might take out cash from their home to pay off debts, right? Okay. We can still roll student loans. If someone has a substantial equity position in their home, we can combine a first mortgage and student loans. Oh, right. And in this rate environment, it's not necessarily something that was popular, but if we go to lower rates and student loans are higher rates, right, you can combine a first, and it's not considered cash out refi at that point because it's a student loan, right?
Details. And
with credit card interest rates high, it might make sense to ditch a 5% first mortgage and combine, 20% credit card debt with a 5% first mortgage at a 7% new mortgage.
Sure.
So that's when you refi there, it's a much bigger thing than just a rate drop.
So what I'm hearing is if you're considering whether or not it's a good time, they should just call you.
Yes.
Or text you.
Always recommended, call or text.
Awesome. Right. Because that's the best way. And one of the reasons why I so adore you is that I know that you're one of those people that you're always available to everyone, right? It's not like the transaction's done, see you later, when it's the next time. And we run our businesses so similarly in that, is that once you're in, you're in.
Yep.
From that perspective. Anyways, Dan, it is always a pleasure. I appreciate you coming down. I appreciate all that you've shared with our wonderful people. Thank you.
Thank you.